was kind of a dark, drizzly, rainy day, so clouds had hidden the sun all day. We were walking, it was chilly. It was getting on to nightfall, and it was, not only was it time to quit walking, but it was time to eat. We were both getting pretty hungry, and we were wanting camp get set up pretty quick. So in case it did start to rain, we wouldn't be getting caught out in it. Well, we were out across the LaBarge area, and we were coming up to what we call Marsh Flats area. And we found this place that had an outcrop that we could crawl under. It was a pretty good sized place. We could crawl under there, get all of our gear in there, and we could build a fire right at the edge of that, and it would keep that little alcove in there nice and warm, and it would keep us out of the rain. Well, we did that. We got it all set up. We fixed dinner, and it was starting to cloud up and lightning and thunder, and the water started coming down. And we thought, oh, here we go. So we crawled back in the space as far as we could get. We finished up our supper. We put the pans up for the time being, because we weren't going out in the rain to wash dishes. That's a little silly. So we just kind of scooched back up in there, and figured it was time to get some shut-eye. And that's just what we did. Well, we were sitting there, and the thunder and lightning was so loud. Now, little Buck, he didn't care. This guy could sleep through anything, I swear. He was just over there snoring and carrying on and making as much racket as the thunderstorm was. Me, I was having a terrible time getting to sleep. But finally, I started dozing off, and I just about gotten to that point where I was asleep. And up sits little Buck. He just sits up, and it just dragged me right back into reality, I guess. And he said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "See what?" I said, "I'm asleep. I'm trying to get to sleep." He says, "No, it was right over there." And I'm looking over there. He says, "There's a woman over there behind the bushes." Well, I'm going to tell you, I personally have been in and out of this desert for a long time, and I ain't found no women behind no bushes anytime. It never happens that way. It might in the books, but it doesn't happen that way. But I looked over there where Buck was pointing, and sure enough, there was a woman out there floating about 10 feet off the ground. She was just sitting there kind of eerie and floating in and out of focus to us. And I'm looking, and I'm just about figuring out what I'm looking at here. And little Buck fires off around at the thing, and that about jerked me right off the ground. So now I'm up about here, and I'm still looking at this lady over here, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at. He says, "That lady's over there." I said, "That can't be a lady over there. It's got to be a ghost or something." Well, little Buck didn't figure that was any better. So we're still sitting there, and the thunder and the lightning is just going on and on. And the only time we can really see her is when the lightning flashes. So we're just kind of scooting ourselves back in that little alcove as far as we can get, hoping she's not going to come our way. Well, the lightning and the thunder started to subside. It was a little bit quieter, and the only thing that was happening was the dripping rain. And we looked out over there, and she was gone. She was just plumb gone. And we looked and we watched, and we couldn't see anything. So we stoked the fire up a little bit, and we figured maybe putting a pot of coffee together would be a good idea. We'd stay awake and keep vigil just in case she came back. Well, little Buck, we got the fire built, and we had a cup of coffee. Little Buck, he's off, he's snoring again, he's carrying on. And me, I'm sitting there just watching every place I can watch. What little lightning there was would light up, and every saguaro that lit up looked like a great big giant out there with their arms up in the air. And you start seeing all sorts of funny things. You're not really sure what any of them are, but you know that was a cactus a second ago, but now it looks like something different. And you got your buddy over here snoring, so that's not helping. Well, I'm still trying to get some sleep. I figured maybe just get a little bit of sleep, because dawn can't be that far off. And I was just starting to doze off when all of a sudden, you got it, little Buck, it's time for breakfast. So we got that done. We finished our coffee. we started stowing our gear and getting ready to leave. Because the way we figured, that lady at night that was drifting over Marsh Flats where we were was gone. And we weren't wanting to be there if she came back. So we packed up all our goodies and we started our trek home. Now, I don't know if there was ever anything really there. Little Buck won't say much because he said he slept. Well, he didn't, but he saw her too. But we ain't never been back there. And there have been other people that have heard the same story, and they said that they've seen her. I just have to wonder if you can't trip somebody's imagination. You tell them they saw something enough times, I suspect they're probably going to see it too. But we ain't never been back to that place. And I'm sure there's a lot of folks that have never been back up to that area either, even though that particular area is one where more often than not people talk about going to find gold. Thank you for watching this episode of Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains.